Alright, so this time we are doing pineapple jam. What you need is a total of 3 cups of fresh pineapple. Now, I bought 4 pineapples a couple of days ago. I chopped 2 of them and food processed the other 2. You can do fully crushed or fully chopped. It won't make any difference. This is just how I make it. But you need a total of 3 cups of fresh pineapple that's already been processed. You can peel it. You need to peel it and core it. If you don't know how to do that, let me know and I will make a video on it. And then you need 2 cups of sugar. This is a small batch jam. You don't want to make more than this at one time. And you're going to get approximately 2 and maybe a half of the 8-ounce jam jars. Okay. Before we started, I put a glass plate in the freezer, as always. That's what you're going to use to determine whether or not you have congealed enough, that you've thickened enough to be able to call it a jam and can it. You need to boil your jars and your lids. Never forget that. I will say that in every video I make. Really, these videos are just for a friend of mine, but since they're going up on YouTube anyway, I thought, F it. Anyways, so, first thing you want to know is this is a high heat recipe. So you're actually going to put, and so where normally I would use a metal jam pan for this, for making these, this is my favorite jam pan, so cheap. I wish I had a jam pot, but I don't. So I just use a nice big sauce pot. So you're going to put all of your ingredients in here. With a lot of jams, you're going to need lemon juice to stabilize it with the citrus. But in this particular case, we don't, because pineapple is an already citric, very citrusy fruit. Stable enough for its own, on its own. So we're going to put all of that in there and we're going to bring it to a boil on high heat. So this thing's going to be high heat from beginning to end. Alright. I got one of those, I left one of those little thingies in there. So you just can't get every last one of them. I swear to God. Okay. Coring a pineapple is hard. The only way you're going to get a pineapple cored to the point where there's not a single one of those little black things in there is if you bought it out of a can. And you can use canned, I guess, but guys, it's not the same. That's gross. Don't do that. I mean, if you must, go ahead. So this is a fairly simple and easy recipe. It's not too hard to understand, except that you do need to remember that since you are cooking on high heat, it's going to be important to stick with it. Alright? Now, a little tip. A little help you out tip. Most jams, I mean blueberry doesn't nearly as badly, but most jams foam up pretty hardcore. And because of that, you have to spend some time doing some things that you don't necessarily want to do, like skimming off foam. Here's your solution. Okay, 1 tablespoon of salted sweet cream butter. Not unsalted. I mean, you can use something other than sweet cream. I made that butter. And I'll probably do a video on that too. I made that butter out of cream that I get from some cows that I have. Not here. I don't have my farm, but one of my people keeps the cow, takes care of the cow, and we trade the care of the cow for milk and other, milk and things from the cow. So it's actually 2, but still, the point is that I made that butter myself. I have these little butter forms, which is always fun. I don't have a lot of gadgets, but I do have these really nifty butter forms. They make them look like store-bought stick butter, which is amazing to me. But yeah, 1 tablespoon. You can pretty much eyeball it. If you are using store-bought, you can just, it has it on the little thing there, exactly where, to cut for a tablespoon. And this last time I made butter, I had actually bought some papers that you can cover the butter in that, has that on there. I will say though, I don't really like that paper. I just tend to wrap it in wax paper. I think I just got it off one of those ones with the new paper. I don't like it. I will normally just wrap it in wax paper and stick it in the freezer because it will keep it for a good long time that way. But yeah, no, that right there is an amazing way to keep the foaming down. The more citrus, the higher citrus the fruit is, the more foam it's going to have. A lot of times, I know my strawberry foams up like mad, so definitely use the butter in there. But yeah, so this is going to be like a lot of my other jam recipes. A little bit of me talking here and there, and a whole lot of speeding it up. Alright, so as you can see, we're at 25 minutes, and I think we're pretty much there. My plate is not cold enough because, well, I'm a dingbat. But I feel like we're good because of the consistency and the texture of the jam. And we will thicken up over time. So as you see, here we are. Basically, I can see the bottom of the pot. We've reduced it by about 50%. That's what we're looking for here. Okay. So now, as you can see, I've been working on pineapple jam for a while. Now we're going to go ahead and fill our jars. This should give us 2 jars. This should give us 2 cups. That being said, could be a little less than 2 cups, who knows. we'll see. Hot. A little bit more in there, and we'll just kind of swap them out, see how they go. See, like now there's too much, so we'll just go ahead and grab a spoon and we'll move things around. And then from here, we will put a knife in there to make sure we get all the air bubbles out. I will say that pineapple jam has the most air bubble problems. So you just need to make sure you get all your air bubbles out, or canning it's not going to help much. That's important. And don't create more air bubbles, just, you know, go around and try to get them out. Okay? Do that to all your jars, just to be sure. And now we're going to take a little out of this one, because it's a little over full here. Put it in this one. That way we've got 1/4 inch of space there, and we're ready to put our lids on, put our rings on, and can. So out of 3 batches, I got 5.5 jars that are going to be good to go. So our next step is to put our lids on, put on our rings to finger tight, remembering that you don't want to tighten it down any harder than finger tight, because you really, it's just we need a little bit of safety on that seal, but not a bunch. It's all about just holding the top on while we get started, because you're not going to need the ring when you're done. God, see? Some of my lids are just not amazing, I'm going to be honest with you. So either way, you're going to put your lid on, finger tight, starts to resist, you let go. So I got these 5 jars, and then I have my little half jar here. So put on our lids, remembering we're not touching, ow, hot. Remember, we're not touching the inside of the lid or the rim of the jar, because this is one of that just came out of the last batch. The inside of the lid or the rim of the jar, because that will, that's bacteria. That we don't want in our jar. Now I have gone through and gotten all the air bubbles out of these. Pineapple gets a lot of air bubbles in it. It's just the nature of it. It's a little thicker of a jam when you're done. So you're gonna fuss with it a little more. And I will say that you will think that it's not done when it's in the pan, but it's actually done. If you try to go over that 20 minutes, 25 if you have a lot of juice, and I mean a lot. I mean, it would have to be an exorbitant amount of juice for that to be. I hate these freaking, don't ever get these Verona jars, ever. They're complete garbage. Just stick with Ball. I just got these because they were cheap and I wanted to use them for my giveaways. I'm burning the crap out of myself. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna mess with these. Yeah. And I will do a canning video later on today.